Hey everyone, hey guys, doing Grugs here, Legion Tactical Cutlery. Welcome back to another Legion premiere and another collaboration with Kizer. They sent me a couple knives and I will be showing both in two separate videos, so stay tuned for the second video. But today we're going to be taking a look at this particular Kizer, and just want to be clear, this is the model number 1100 A4. They have a couple of different versions of this knife. All right, they have the 1100 A2 and they have the 1100 A4 in 1095 steel. But I'm getting ahead of myself. What's everybody carrying? Well, lately I've been carrying my Kizer Beglettel over here in CPM 3V. I love this. This is not part of the collaboration. I purchased this, but it is an awesome knife, and I've been carrying it on the small of my back in a scout position. Excellent knife in CPM 3V. Go check out my Legion premiere on this. All right, what are you carrying? And veterans in active military, as always, just want to say thank you very much for your service. I hope you enjoy this video. All right, fantastic. Let's quickly go over the model number and the specs of this knife. Once again, this is the Kizer Polaris, model number 1100 A4. Overall length 8.91 inch, blade length 4.23 inch, blade material 1095, blade hardness 58 to 60 HRC, blade thickness 3.6 millimeters, handle length 4.68 inch, handle material G10, weight 6.32 ounces. And basically this knife is modeled after a traditional knife called the Yakut knife. Yakut, Y-A-K-U-T is the actual spelling of that knife. I don't know if I'm pronouncing it correctly or not, but now that I've got the specs out of the way, we're going to take a look. We're going to take a look at this knife. Now, this is a dedicated knife. Okay. First of all, let me show you this particular model has a chisel grind on the other side, and you'll see all these dimpled indents, little tongue twister there. Basically, this is a fuller. That's all that is. So I thought it had some specific purpose, but it's just a fuller and the design. At least that is my understanding, because I did ask the Kizer rep what this is, but this is model number 1100 A4. I want to make sure that you all get that right, because some of you may or may not like this knife. However, I have seen a ton of reviews on Amazon where people have very positive things to say about this knife. So let's take a look. So one side is a complete zero edge Scandi grind. All right. So there you go. There's plenty of jimping here at the top, okay, front of the blade, and an area where you could put your thumb here if you're going to do some close-up work. Okay, the other side is chisel ground, and it has this dimpled fuller. I mean, that's the only way I could say it. The handles are awesome. They are ergonomic. They are comfortable. They are nicely contoured. All right, full tang goodness. It does have a divot for, I guess you could use the knife as a bearing block. I have personally never done it. I'm not a bushcraft expert, but in my opinion, this knife is dedicated bushcrafter. And with that said, I just want to show you what Kizer puts in the box so that everybody understands that this is pretty much dedicated bushcraft knife. So I have to personally rethink my testing of this knife. So I'm gonna be testing out this piece of wood with it. It's pretty hard, all right? And that's one of the things I'm gonna test. However, as you could see this is included in the box, and it's telling you what's its main intended purposes are carving notches, 10 pegs, spoons, shaving wood curls for fire starting, light scraping and food preparation, controlled push cuts with a thumb, assisted grip, and then it gives you limitations here. So do not use for chopping or batoning. So that's out. That's out. Maybe some very light batoning with some very dry dead wood, which I do have. You know, maybe use my hand to tap it down here, but I need everybody to understand, you know, you're not going to be able to buy this knife and just, you know, baton with it, chop with it. And if it breaks, I'm not sure about the warranty. Okay. So I'm sure they'll work with you one way or another, but this is in the box, not only for this model, but also for the 1100A2, which is the full Scandi grind. It has a green handle instead. All right. So they also include this in that kit setup. All right, so just be aware. Now, see, this is kind of contradictory. I don't understand it. So they're saying do not use for chopping or batoning, but now here it's saying to enhance chopping durability, you know, you may add a secondary bevel. Does that void the warranty now? I'm not sure. You know, there's some questions in my head. I do not know if other content creators have posed this question before, and then they give you recommendation of, you know, if you don't want that zero grind, you want to add a bevel, it's giving you an option. But here is the opposite side. So this Kizer is a little confusing to me. So with this said, me personally, I would just use this as a bushcraft knife. So no chopping, no batoning with this knife. Maybe, you know, this type of wood, whoops. Maybe what I'll do is just lightly use my hand here just to split it. Maybe that is the extent of utilizing this blade. And then, you know, other camp tasks, which, you know, I will show eventually. However, until, you know, we understand the warranty implications on this, I wouldn't do it. So with that said, I have right here a saw in the picture and a small little hatchet. Now I'm not going to show you the brand because this is not about other brands. I'm just showing an example that this is the combination I would use with this particular knife. Now, you know, they sent this to me for testing, and I appreciate it. I would not buy this version. That is just me. I would buy the full Scandi grind. Okay, where the green handle one, where they're both full Scandi on each side. With that said, people have said that this knife is amazing when it comes to carving, cutting, etc. So we're going to test it out that way when the time comes. All right, let's show you the sheath. Nice pancake style sheath. It's got the rivet holes. I wish it had the slots. It doesn't. It has a sharpener up here. However, I personally think it's a bit coarse. It's better than nothing, but I think it's a little bit coarse. I mean, with something a little more grit on here, or less grit on here, to make that edge a lot smoother, I think I would use a little bit lesser grit. So I personally would take my Work Sharp field guide with me, because it has a coarse and it has the leather strop. It has a ceramic honing rod, and it has a finer diamond plate. So that's what I would take. But you know, if you're a minimalist and you're counting every ounce and you want to take this knife with you, at least they have some form of sharpening system. Now, me personally, man, I love Scandi, but I wouldn't know how to really sharpen this. The only thing I would do is probably, me myself, to maintain after use, I would, you know, run it flat on the one side on this ceramic side and then strop it. Unless the blade is so damaged that you'd have to, you know, sharpen the zero edge completely flat, you know, on the Work Sharp guide, or however you want to sharpen it. So this is, I don't know, for me, more for advanced users. So just understand where I'm coming from. So I have to, again, rethink how I'm going to be testing this out. And in any case, I still want to show you guys this, and I'm still curious myself on testing this out. The chisel grind, I mean, the sharpness is there. I mean, this thing is like insanely sharp here. All right, so let me just show you a quick example. And people are like raving about it. Now, I wish I could have brought some paper outside here, but again, it's so humid out here that the paper will soak up that moisture in an instant. All right, and I wouldn't get a proper cut to give you an idea how sharp this is. But there's other content creators who have tested out this knife with paper, and man, it does glide through. Look, there is no denying it. This thing is extremely sharp out of the box. I think if you're a dedicated bushcrafter and you're going to use your knife as a bushcrafting knife, combine that with a saw or hatchet, I think you're good to go. I really do. I think you will all enjoy this knife. Will you enjoy this chisel grind area over here? Well, that's something that you need to do more research with and make sure that this is something that you want. But they also have a different steel of this, okay, AEB-L. Also, I don't know the model numbers of those, but they also have this indentation over here, or this type of fuller, and they also have the full Scandi grind version of this knife. So, give me a couple of days. I'm going to be testing it, and this is one of the pieces of wood that I'll be testing. And obviously, I have paracord, some jute over here. I'm going to be testing out some camp tasks, some other industrial materials, just to give you guys an idea of how sharp this blade is. But this is my take on this version of the Kizer Polaris. Now, if I knew, okay, that's another thing. The Amazon was a little lacking in, letting me understand this knife. So I made the wrong decision when I reached out to Kizer, because they did reach out to me first, and they said, hey, would you like to test out some knives? I'm like, yeah, I would love to test out some knives. And I think I was supposed to get a couple of different neck knives. And then they reached out to me again and says, would you be interested in doing future videos with us? I'm like, yeah. So I took a shot, and I said, why don't you send me the Polaris and the Drop Bear? So I think I sent them links of what I wanted without knowing about this. I got it now. I'm going to test it out. And I'm still thinking whether, I want to trade for the full grain Scandi or maybe outright purchase it. I'm not sure yet what I'm going to do. But still excited to test this out, show everybody. Again, go check it out on Amazon. I'll leave links in the description. People have been saying it's a great knife. Go check out some reviews. People are gliding right through paper. It's a sharp knife. So I definitely see some pros and cons for me, So just take that to note. Let's show you the box. Aside from that little warning in there, all right, where I don't even know what I did with that warning sign in any case. Here's the box. Here's a Kizer box. Now I did take out the outer sleeve. I don't need that outer sleeve. It's just, an annoyance to take it in and out. So I just got rid of it. But there's a white outer sleeve that says Kizer on here. Then you have this right here, Innovation, Respect, Sharing, Kizer. All right. Plain box. Inside the box was that warning sign, which I don't know where it is. This felt Kizer rag, cleaning rag. Little card over here where you can scan the codes. Sticker, all right, sticker, and a silicone gel. So not too important to me personally, although you might, the collectors out there might enjoy that. I personally don't care for it one way or another. It doesn't do anything for me. But that's the box. And I think that's it. I think I've rambled on long enough. So give me a couple of days. We'll get to testing. I am excited. So, all right, troops, legionnaires, new recruits, let me know what you think about this knife. Let me bring awareness to everybody. Hashtag 22 a day. Hashtag 22 a day no more. There are veterans and active military. Once they get out of the service, they do face a lot of challenges. Unfortunately, one of these challenges is suicide. So when we're done here, go check out the comment section, description section, okay? There'll be phone numbers you can call, websites that you can surf. Heartfelt message from Martin Miller, Vietnam veteran, 66 to 69 years. A heartfelt message for you guys. Please seek the help you all have earned and deserve. Troops, legionnaires, new recruits, as always, thank you very much. At the ready, hold the line. Take care.